Right, I think we are on. Hello, guys. Welcome back. We're going to do another comprehension video for you today. Just let's recap some main ideas. We can go through this, we can define some words together, it's all very handy. But let's recap some main concepts I've spoken about to you before. So, firstly is this idea that I have a comprehension geography, which is a weird word to use when you're talking about comprehension, but basically, what I'm asking you to do is the first time you read it, pay attention, be vigilant. We need to take that first read seriously. We need to read ardently. We need to focus. And then we use the comprehension as a map. The most amount of time you're going to waste when doing comprehension is flicking back and forth, because you've breezed through it, you haven't truly focused on it, you haven't taken in what it's saying, what the arguments are. The structure you haven't noted, there's a paragraph change, so we know what the difference in paragraphs is. This one talks about this and that one talks about that, so on and so forth. If you're not doing that, if you're not using it like a map, you're going to waste so much time flicking back and forth and making guesses because you can't exactly remember where everything is, or you're going to see something and forget that it says something equally important later on, and then you're going to put the wrong answer down. Build a map in your mind. Remember that, this paragraph says this and this paragraph says this, and then you'll be able to continue from there, right? Second thing I want to talk about, I'm having a blank. What was the second thing I wanted to talk about? Let me pause it and actually try and remember. Yes, sorry. Use the context. This is valid for word definitions. It's not always going to be me there or someone else to help you define these words. So use the context that surrounds words if there's not someone there to help you figure it out. And this is also for when you are asked a question in the comprehension that isn't an obvious one, that isn't a spot this in the text and then circle the answer directly. When you're having to deduce or infer something, right? You need to use context. You need to look at the content of each paragraph, the content of the sentences surrounding the bit of information you're looking for. Try and figure out the argument. This leads on to the third thing I wanted to emphasize, and that is understanding the narrative voice. What is the person, the narrator who has written this, is speaking this to you, trying to say? Why does this comprehension exist? What is the narrative voice's intention? Are they trying to persuade you? Are they trying to sell you something? Are they trying to convince you that something's a good idea or a bad idea? Is it just to inform you of something? Is it to play a game? What's the purpose? Is it to advertise a holiday? Is it a bit of history, informing you of some history that you may not have known about? So is it about facts and numbers? Is it scientific? Understanding the tone of the writing will help you with questions such as, what is the main purpose? The reason why the comprehension exists at all. We may have multiple things that it talks about, but what's the main purpose, right? Right, I think we've addressed those three things as a bit of a recap. Let's have a look at this. I've chosen Comprehension 27 because to me it seems to be one of the longest ones in the Life Changing Tuition English workbook. So let's have a look at this together. The Great Library Heist of 1923. In the bustling city of Elderton, nestled, if something's nestled, it's sort of tucked between or within something. Rolling hill, or rolling hills and a river coming through, nestled in the middle of it, tucked in. The bustling city of Elderton. Nestled between rolling hills and a winding river, something extraordinary occurred in the summer of 1923 that would go down in history as the Great Library Heist. The thrilling tale of daring adventure and mysterious intrigue. Something's intriguing, it's deeply interesting. Unfolded within the grand walls of the Elderton Public Library, captivating the imagination of all who heard it. Elderton was a town known for its rich history and vibrant community. The Elderton Public Library, a majestic stone building adorned with ornate columns and intricate stained glass windows. Look at that sentence. If something's adorned with something, it's decorated with it. To be adorned, you adorn, a Christmas tree, for instance, is adorned with ornaments, it's decorated. Ornate, if something's ornate, it's highly elaborate, or decorative, or decorated. And intricate, if something's intricate, it's complex. It's got multiple parts. Stained glass was similar to ornate, but not the same. Yeah, stained glass windows stood as a testament. Testament is a couple of things. A testament to the town's love for knowledge. It was here that our story begins. So testament, something that is testament to something, it serves as evidence. So this story stood, this library stood as evidence for the town's love of knowledge, right? It proves something. It's also a division of the Bible, of course. The library is not only a sanctuary for books, a place of refuge, a place of safety. The books lived there. It's almost personification. The library was not only a sanctuary for books, but also a hub for the town's cultural and intellectual life. Every summer, the library held a grand exhibition of rare manuscripts and ancient texts from around the world. That year, the centerpiece of the exhibition was the legendary Codex Veritatis, a priceless collection of historical documents and manuscripts dating back centuries. Probably should be Veritatis, shouldn't it? Not Veritatis in Latin. V's become W. So, word of the exhibition quickly spread throughout Elderton, drawing visitors from neighbouring towns, and cities. Among the intrigued was a group of 4 teenagers: Thomas, Amelia, William, and Emily. Each of them had a deep love for books and a sense of adventure that always led them into exciting escapades. An escapade is an adventure or an exciting event, right? The Codex Veritatis, rumoured to hold secrets about Elderton's own history, piqued. If you pique someone's curiosity, you get their interest. Yeah, you pique their interest. Notice how it's a homophone for P-E-A-K and P-E-E-K. Peek as in the top of something, and peek as in to look around the corner, to peek. This is piqued, to gain, to garner the curiosity of the 4 friends. They spent days poring over library books, researching the codex and crafting a plan to get an up-close look at the fabled collection. Well, maybe you might have heard of a fable before. If something is fabled, it is famous, right? Especially by its reputation. Yeah, it's gained a notable reputation. It's famed. As the exhibition's opening day approached, they hatched a daring scheme. On the eve of the exhibition, with the summer moon casting a silvery glow over Elderton, the 4 teenagers gathered at the library's entrance. Thomas, the group's natural leader, outlined the plan with a combination of excitement and trepidation. Trepidation is hesitancy or uncertainty. It's an awareness of danger, so he's careful. Amelia, with her quick wit and nimble fingers, nimble means agile, so she's got very quick, flexible fingers, was tasked with bypassing the security systems. William, the tech-savvy one, would monitor the security cameras and alert the group of any impending danger is soon oncoming, right? So, imminent danger. Emily, the history buff, was responsible for deciphering the codex secrets once they gained access. To decipher is to decode or to translate. Their plan was in motion. Amelia expertly picked the lock on the library's back door while William disabled the security cameras. As they crept inside, the library seemed to come alive with whispered secrets from the past. Emily shivered with excitement as she gazed at the Codex Veritatis, displayed in a glass case in the centre of the room. Just as they were about to lay hands on the codex, a loud creak echoed through the library. The group froze. To their horror, they realized that the security guard had decided to do an unexpected late-night patrol. Panic surged through them as they scrambled to find a hiding spot. In a stroke of luck, they discovered a hidden alcove behind a large bookshelf. An alcove. Now, I would show you the room I'm in at the moment, because it has alcoves. But imagine you've got a straight of wall, a plane of wall, but maybe there's a fireplace where a fireplace used to be, part of the wall juts out, and so you've got some of the wall that comes forward and some of the wall that stays back, right? So the dropped back area of the wall is an alcove. It's sort of a bit of wall that's tucked in, yeah? There's a gap that drops back. They squeezed into it just in time. The security guard strolled into the exhibition room, flashlight in hand. His footsteps reverberated throughout the library as he examined each display case with meticulous care. For something to reverberate, it's sort of another way of saying echoed, right? It's about something repeating. So his footsteps, you get it's like an echo. We know what an echo is. To be meticulous is to be, incredibly precise. Time seemed to stretch into eternity as the four teenagers held their breath, heartbeats pounding in their ears. The security guard finally moved on, unaware of their presence. When they were certain he had left the room, they emerged from their hiding place, that alcove, their hearts still racing. With the Codex Veritatis in their grasp, they hastily gathered the documents they believed held the key to Elderton's hidden history. They then restored the library security systems and vanished into the night. Over the following weeks, the group deciphered the secrets hidden within the Codex Veritatis, unearthing a long-forgotten tale of heroism and sacrifice that had shaped their town. They realized that Elderton's history was far richer and more complex than they had ever imagined. The Great Library Heist of 1923 became a legendary story in Elderton, passed down through generations. It served as a reminder that sometimes, in the pursuit of knowledge, doing adventurous and the unearthing of hidden truths can lead to unexpected discoveries. The Codex Veritatis returned to its rightful place and continued to inspire generations of young minds, just as it had inspired four teenagers on that fateful summer night. Quick water break. Okay, so as always, once we start looking at the questions, feel free to pause it, have a go at them on your own. I will be going through them one by one. So, where does the text say that this story begins? Well, we look near the start. Bustling city of Elderton. Okay, so we're in Elderton, we know that much. So, this thrilling tale, story, unfolded within the grand walls of the Elderton Public Library, right? The Elderton, this is where we begin. We begin by talking about the library. So we know we're in Elderton, but specifically the public library. Has to be C. Good. So, who was the leader of the group that executed the Great Library Heist of 1923? Now, we remember that list of each member being described as, having certain skills. If we have good comprehension geography, if we paid attention, we should be able to get this quite easily. One of them was good at picking the locks, one of them was good with the security systems, one was the natural born leader, that's the one we're looking for, but because I've gone past it. Because I paid attention, I know exactly where to look. We're around here. Thomas, the group's natural leader. Hopefully some of you would have just even remembered that. Not even had to look back at all. That's the point. That's what we're trying to achieve. Why did the teenagers decide to steal the Codex Veritatis from the Elderton Public Library? Why did they do it? Well, let's process of elimination this one together, shall we? So, to sell it for a fortune? Money was never mentioned. For personal fame and recognition, fame was never mentioned. Because they had a taste for adventure. We did see the word escapades. Do you remember defining that one? They were dared to do it. There was no dare. To uncover Elderton's hidden history. Now, don't be misled. Don't be fooled. They are expecting to do that. They didn't know what they would find in the book. So C is the only valid option. How did Amelia contribute to the high success? So we're in the same place that we found the answer for question 2, Thomas. We're looking for Amelia this time. Quick wit and nimble fingers was tasked with bypassing the security systems. So let's have a look. She deciphered the Codex's secret? No. She disabled the security cameras? No, remember that was someone else. She picked the lock on the library's back door? Doesn't say that necessarily. She was on the lookout for the security guard? No. She gathered the historical documents? No. Now she has nimble fingers. She's agile. She's bypassing security systems. She's getting through them. Sounds like someone who might be able to pick a lock with the agility of their fingers, right? I would say C. When would the library hold an exhibit of rare manuscripts and ancient texts? When? Well, I know exactly where to look again because I paid attention. Every summer, the library held a grand exhibition, there's the word, of rare manuscripts and ancient texts. There are the two things you're looking for. Every summer. Third paragraph. Let's come down here. Should be A for 5. Every summer. So, why did the Codex Veritatis continue to draw visitors to the Elderton Public Library? Why did it continue to draw them? Well, it contained valuable treasures? No. It was connected to a famous historical event? We don't know that yet. It hasn't been proven. No one knew that. Why would it continue to draw visitors if none of them knew this? It was rumoured to be cursed? No. It was the only exhibit in the library? No, they have a rotating exhibit, don't they? And the exhibit also It's just part of something that comes in every summer. They have other things there to look at. The only option here is A. It's historical significance, yeah? 7. What does the author mean by heartbeats pounding in their ears in the 10th paragraph? Well, the characters were experiencing actual heart problems. I doubt it. It's a metaphor. Well, they were listening to music. No. Noisy environment. Well, no. It was incredibly quiet in the library. The characters were in love. Love is never mentioned. This is a very easy process of elimination. We shouldn't need to do it anyway. It should be fairly obvious that this is a metaphor. Heartbeats pounding in their ears for the anxiety of trying not to get caught in the library after hours. Which of the following statements is true for number 8? The Great Library Heist of 1923 took place in a small village. Well, we know it was in Elderton, so let's get rid of A. The Codex Veritatis was a collection of modern novels. Absolutely not. Get rid of B. Emily, the history buff, became a professional archaeologist. We wouldn't know. It's never mentioned. William was the group's historian, responsible for deciphering the Codex secrets. What was William? Let's double check that. What was William? The tech-savvy one. We know that's not true either. So is E correct? Amelia was tasked with bypassing security systems. Well, we've already answered the question. We spoke about Amelia picking locks on doors. I would say the answer has to be E. Which of the following statements is false? Now, we're looking for the one that's false here. Okay, don't get confused. These are two different questions. The Great Library Heist of 1923 unfolded in Elderton. Yes, it did, so it can't be A. The Codex Veritatis was a legendary collection of historical documents. Yes, it was, so it can't be B. Emily pursued a career in law enforcement. No one's careers were ever mentioned in that text. We don't need to check that. We simply should not be able to remember it. We should know, more than that it's actively not there. Has to be C. What lesson is left for the reader in the text? So, what are we meant to feel at the end? We've been given a place marker. What lesson is left? It's a hidden place marker, but what lesson is left for the reader in the text? What's left for the reader? Where are you often going to find, the final things, the final thoughts, the message for us, the conclusion, so we know where to look? So, it serves as a reminder that sometimes in the pursuit of knowledge, daring adventures and the unearthing of hidden truths can lead to unexpected discoveries. Good. So, we come down here. We're on 10, yes. So, the importance of avoiding adventure, well, it doesn't tell us to avoid it. It tells us to go for them, The thrill of uncovering hidden truths, okay, yes, can lead to unexpected discoveries. Well, it definitely does. In fact, let's look at the other three. Town's history, that's not the main lesson. The notion that the consequences of daring adventure can never be positive, they definitely were positive. The idea that knowledge is not worth pursuing, it was pursuing. Surely the correct answer is B there. Surely. This is our last one, yes it is. So page 11, where will we find a text like this one that we've written? So, it's got nothing to do with sport. History book, we'll come back to that. Fashion magazine, no, nothing to do with cooking either. Fairly obvious to reduce it to A or C. A library's local historical archive or a history book. Now, this story of the library heist, this becomes a story passed down by generations. We remember reading that, don't we? But local generations, this isn't a bit of international history, it's history of Elderton. Has to be A. Local history archive, A. It's about local history. 12. Now we spoke about this, the meaning of the word ornate in the 5th paragraph. Something that's ornamented and highly decorated. We spoke about this, that should be fairly obvious should be B. What is the meaning of the word strolled in the 9th paragraph? Well, to stroll. The bodyguard was strolling through the museum, looking at every single artifact. He can't be moving quickly, can he? He can't be moving quickly. And he's definitely not limping, that would be silly. Limping is unnecessary, that would be an assumption that he was limping. Walking slowly and leisurely, I think, fits best. He has to be walking slowly to examine every single exhibit, as carefully as he was, meticulously, remember that word? 14. What part of speech is the word manuscripts? Now, if we know the way that different kinds of word operate, we should not even need to go back to the 3rd paragraph. We shouldn't need to. A manuscript. Can you do a manuscript? No. Is a manuscript a pronoun? No. No one's called manuscript. It's a thing. We're talking about the manuscript. The thing. The. The should be a giveaway. It's a noun. Has to be A. And for 15. What part of speech is the word displayed in the 7th paragraph? Now, we've spoken about this before, but I'll say it again. We see on the end of displayed we have an ED. Now, When we try to put a verb in the past, such as display, we need to find a form of that verb, and we call that form the past participle. Very often, the simplest way of putting a verb in the past, finding its past participle, is putting the letters E and D at the end of it. So from display it becomes displayed. I did display in the present tense, I did, but now that I've done it, I had displayed a while ago. It's a verb. Has to be a verb. Right, thank you very much. That's another one done.